If you're over 60, there's something important you deserve to know about the vitamins many seniors take every single day. Some of the most common supplements, the ones advertised as heart protective, energy boosting, or good for your nerves, don't behave the same way in an older body. Not because the vitamins are bad, but because the physiology processing them has changed. Slower clearance, altered enzymes, reduced methylation, and a far narrower margin between what helps and what overwhelms. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid, a geriatric physician with 25 years of clinical work behind me, and I can tell you with absolute clarity, the biggest threat to senior health isn't disease, it's misinformation. Most older adults aren't taking the wrong nutrients. They're taking the wrong forms, the wrong combinations, or the wrong doses for how the body actually works after 60. And here's what most people never hear. Your body doesn't stop responding with age. It becomes more selective. Some vitamin forms can quietly inflame the arteries, disrupt sleep architecture, elevate homocysteine, or stress the liver, while others can sharpen cognition, stabilize nighttime blood flow, calm the nervous system, and support deep repair. Tonight, we're separating the four vitamins that quietly work against your health from the four that genuinely strengthen it. If clarity like this helps you, please like the video, share it with someone over 60, and subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson in senior physiology. And before we begin, comment your age. It helps me tailor future guidance to the people who need it most. Let's start with the first category. The four vitamins seniors should reconsider immediately. Number 4, synthetic vitamin E. Most people over 60 believe vitamin E is harmless, even protective, because it's marketed as an antioxidant for the heart. But the synthetic form found in many senior multivitamins behaves very differently inside an older body. DL-alpha tocopherol is not the same molecule your tissues recognize from food. And when you're over 60, your lipid metabolism slows, your vitamin K-dependent clotting pathways become more sensitive, and your oxidative balance becomes easier to disrupt. In that environment, synthetic vitamin E doesn't support health, it complicates it. In my clinic, the pattern is unmistakable. Seniors taking synthetic vitamin E often report easy bruising, lightheadedness when standing, unexplained fatigue, and a subtle unsteadiness they can't quite describe. When we check labs, we frequently find prolonged clotting times, low vitamin K activity, or early signs of oxidative imbalance, the opposite of what they expected when they started supplementing. The physiology is simple but rarely explained to the public. The synthetic form competes with natural tocopherols and completely excludes tocotrienols, which are essential for balanced antioxidant signaling. At the same time, it interferes with vitamin K, making small blood vessels more fragile and causing tiny bleeds that accumulate as bruising and morning weakness. For seniors with slower hepatic clearance, that imbalance builds quietly over months, sometimes years. One of my patients, Lisa, a 71-year-old woman, taking 400 IU of synthetic vitamin E for heart health, came in with persistent arm bruising and midday dizziness. She assumed it was aging. It wasn't. Within 6 weeks of removing the supplement and replacing it with food-based vitamin E, almonds, olive oil, sunflower seeds, her symptoms resolved and her clotting time normalized. The fix is not to avoid vitamin E, it's to avoid the wrong vitamin E. If you want supplemental support, choose mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols, the forms your cells actually use, and the ones that aging physiology handles gracefully. Number 3, iron supplements, when you are not deficient. Iron is one of the most misunderstood supplements in older adults. Many seniors take it for energy, assuming low stamina must mean low iron. But after 60, the body changes how it handles this mineral. It clears it more slowly, stores it more aggressively, and becomes far more vulnerable to iron overload than people are ever told. Inside an older physiology, excess iron doesn't give energy. It generates stress. When iron accumulates beyond what your cells can use, it participates in what's called the Fenton reaction, a chemical process that creates free radicals powerful enough to damage brain tissue, irritate the heart, and inflame the nervous system. That inflammation doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it shows up as morning heaviness, joint stiffness, unrefreshing sleep, or a fog you can't quite shake. And when iron rises silently for months or years, sleep itself begins to change. Neuroinflammation makes microarousals more frequent. Cortisol becomes less stable. Leg restlessness increases. Many seniors tell me, I'm tired all day, but I can't stay asleep at night. This is exactly what iron excess looks like. A retired worker named Johnny, a 69-year-old man, had been taking an iron supplement for nearly 2 years because a store clerk told him it would help with fatigue. By the time he came to my office, his ferritin levels were more than triple what they should have been. He had brain fog, aching joints, and sleep so fragmented he rarely made it past 2 or 3 a.m. without waking. He thought it was aging. It wasn't. Once we removed the supplement and let his ferritin normalize, his sleep stabilized, his mornings cleared, and his joint heaviness faded. The truth is simple. Older adults should never take iron unless lab tests confirm a deficiency. Your body is too efficient at storing it and too slow at getting rid of it to experiment with this mineral. If you genuinely need iron, use food-first sources, lentils, leafy greens, small amounts of animal protein. But if your levels are normal, supplementation does more harm than good. Precision is everything here. Before adding iron, check ferritin. Your heart, your brain, and your sleep depend on it. Number 2, synthetic folic acid, the vitamin that stops working after 60. Synthetic folic acid is one of the most common ingredients in senior multivitamins, and one of the most misunderstood. It's sold as heart-friendly, brain-supportive, good for energy. But none of that matters if the body over 60 can't convert it. Folic acid isn't the usable form. Your cells rely on L-methylfolate, and transforming folic acid into that form requires a single enzyme, MTHFR. Here's the part most seniors never hear. The efficiency of this enzyme declines with age. Add common genetic variants, and conversion slows even further. When that happens, folic acid doesn't become nutrition. It becomes backlog. Unmetabolized folic acid circulates in the bloodstream and creates metabolic tension. It pushes homocysteine upward, stiffening arteries. It interferes with methylation, the system that regulates mood, sleep cycles, memory, and detox pathways. It competes with natural folate from food, blocking the very benefits people think they're getting. The symptoms rarely look like a vitamin issue. They look like slowing cognition, light and restless sleep, irritability at night, difficulty maintaining deep sleep, or that strange, wired but tired sensation. Seniors blame stress. Physicians often blame aging. The truth is simpler. The wrong form of folate is jamming a system that needs precision. A case that stays with me is Evelyn, age 74. She wasn't sick, just tired, unfocused, and waking 3 to 4 times a night without explanation. Her labs showed elevated homocysteine despite a high folate multivitamin. We pulled the supplement, replaced it with L-methylfolate, and emphasized folate-rich foods, lentils, greens, avocado. Within 6 weeks, her homocysteine dropped, her sleep consolidated, and her morning clarity returned in a way she hadn't felt in years. There is nothing wrong with folate. What fails is the form, and in older physiology, form is everything. Avoid synthetic folic acid, especially in discount multivitamins. Choose L5-MTHF or get folate from food. Your body doesn't need more vitamins. It needs vitamins it can actually use. Number 1, synthetic vitamin A. The most misused vitamin in seniors? Vitamin A is essential for vision, immunity, and cellular repair. But for adults over 60, the form matters more than the dose. And this is where synthetic vitamin A becomes one of the most problematic supplements in the entire senior market. The older liver doesn't clear synthetic retinol palmitate or retinol acetate efficiently. It stores them. And unlike beta-carotene from food, which the body converts only as needed, synthetic retinol keeps accumulating quietly in liver tissue, creating pressure on the nervous system, the eyes, and even the sleep architecture. Here's the physiology most people never hear. 1. Clearance slows with age. Retinol has a long half-life, and adults over 60 often take it daily without realizing it's building up. Even moderate doses can exceed what the liver can process week after week. 2. Excess retinol irritates the cranial nerves. The earliest signs often appear in the eyes: dryness, burning, sensitivity to light, symptoms that make staying asleep harder. When the cornea dries at night, microarousals increase, giving sleep that thin, easily broken quality. 3. Retinol overload disrupts the brain's nighttime rhythm. Seniors report light pressure headaches toward evening, difficulty turning off mental activity, or a sense of internal restlessness just as melatonin should be rising. None of this looks like a vitamin problem, and that's exactly why it's overlooked. A memorable example is Harold, 71. His daughter brought him to my clinic after months of fractured sleep, strange dry eye episodes at night, and a dull evening headache he blamed on aging. His supplement list looked harmless, until we noticed a daily eye health capsule containing 10,000 IU of synthetic retinol palmitate. His blood work showed elevated retinol, his liver enzymes were creeping up. We removed the supplement, replaced it with beta-carotene and a lutein zeaxanthin formula, and emphasized carotenoid-rich foods. Within 8 weeks, the headaches resolved, his eyes stopped drying out at night, and his sleep consolidated into longer, deeper segments. The lesson is simple. Vitamin A isn't the enemy. The synthetic forms are too aggressive for older physiology. Here's the precision approach. Avoid retinol palmitate and retinol acetate, especially in eye support or cheap multivitamins. Choose vitamin A from beta-carotene. The body only converts what it needs. For vision support, rely on lutein and zeaxanthin, not retinol. And never assume higher doses mean more benefit. With vitamin A, more often means more strain. For seniors, the right form can protect the eyes and support nighttime repair. The wrong form can quietly disrupt both. Now that we've cleared the 4 supplements that quietly work against the older body, we can finally shift the lens to what actually supports it. Because after 60, your physiology doesn't need more vitamins. It needs the right signals at the right time. And when you choose correctly, something remarkable happens. Circulation steadies, sleep deepens, inflammation settles, and the morning no longer feels like a battle to warm your body back up. These next 4 vitamins aren't just good options. They're the ones I've seen year after year restore clarity, stability, and nighttime repair in my older patients, when used in the proper form. Let's begin. Number 4, vitamin D3 and K2. If there's one combination that consistently strengthens both circulation and nighttime stability in adults over 60, it's the pairing of vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. Not separately, together. Vitamin D3 behaves more like a hormone than a vitamin. It influences immune balance, muscle function, vascular tone, and even sleep regulation. But here's the part many seniors never hear. When D3 rises without K2, calcium can drift into soft tissue, the arteries, the joints, even the kidneys, instead of being directed into bone. That's where K2, MK7, becomes essential. It activates the proteins that escort calcium to the skeleton and away from arterial walls, preserving elasticity and preventing the stiffness that so many older adults assume is just age. One patient, Marianne, 74, came to me with evening leg heaviness and unpredictable sleep, waking at 3 a.m. with a sense of internal restlessness. Her blood work showed low D3 despite daily supplements, but she was taking D3 alone. Within 8 weeks of switching to a D3 plus M, K7 blend, 2 changes stood out. Her morning mobility improved, and her sleep lost that fragile, easily interrupted quality. Her arterial stiffness score improved noticeably. The physiology is straightforward. D3 supports muscle relaxation, circadian rhythm, and immune stability. K2 ensures calcium goes where it should, protecting arteries and improving vascular flexibility. Together, they create a foundation for smoother nighttime circulation and more stable sleep depth. The dose doesn't need to be dramatic, 1,000 to 2,000 IU of D3 with 90 to 120 micrograms of MK7, ideally with a meal containing healthy fat. For seniors, this combination isn't trendy, it's structural. It supports the two things aging physiology values most: elastic arteries and predictable nighttime repair. Number 3, magnesium glycinate. If there is a single nutrient that reliably calms the older nervous system without sedation, it's magnesium glycinate. Not magnesium oxide, not citrate, not the laxative form so many seniors unknowingly buy, but glycinate, the form that binds to glycine and actually enters the nervous system where it's needed. After 60, the body becomes more sensitive to nighttime stimulation. Small fluctuations in stress hormones, minor muscle tension, even a brief spike in heart rate can pull someone out of sleep. Magnesium is one of the few nutrients that supports all three systems involved: the muscles, the autonomic nervous system, and the GABA pathway that signals the brain to release its grip and settle into deeper stages of sleep. One of my long-term patients, Eleanor, age 71, described her nights as light, shallow, and never fully restful. She didn't struggle to fall asleep. She struggled to stay asleep. And every morning, she woke with a subtle chest tightness and a sense that her body had been on alert all night. Her blood work showed low magnesium, something I see frequently in older adults, especially those on diuretics or with decreased absorption. When she switched from a generic magnesium blend to magnesium glycinate, the shift was gradual but unmistakable. Within 2 weeks, the nighttime muscle tension eased. By week 4, her sleep became more continuous, and the early morning adrenaline-like awakenings, the kind so many seniors assume are age-related, dropped almost entirely. The physiology explains it clearly. Glycinate form crosses into the nervous system more smoothly. It enhances GABA signaling, deepening sleep architecture. It reduces subtle overnight spikes in sympathetic activity. And it calms the muscles around the rib cage and spine, reducing the micro-tensions that fragment sleep. Most seniors do well with 200 to 350 milligrams in the evening, taken with a light snack, not on an empty stomach. For the older body, magnesium glycinate isn't simply a sleep vitamin, it's a stabilizer, one that helps the night hold together the way it used to. Number 2, vitamin B12. Among all the vitamins older adults lose silently, vitamin B12 is the one that creates the most confusion. Not because the nutrient is rare, but because the absorption system weakens with age. After 60, stomach acid declines, intrinsic factor drops, and medications like PPIs block absorption almost entirely. The result isn't dramatic at first, it's subtle. Lighter sleep, morning fog, uneven energy, and a nervous system that never fully powers down at night. B12 isn't just an energy vitamin. It supports myelin repair, stabilizes nerve signaling, and ensures that oxygen actually reaches deep brain tissue during sleep. When B12 falls, the brain works harder to maintain basic nighttime functions, leading to the kind of fragmented, shallow sleep many seniors assume is just aging. I remember a patient named Harold, age 74, who came to me worried he was developing early cognitive decline. His memory felt inconsistent, and more importantly, he was waking 2 or 3 times every night with a vague, restless alertness he couldn't explain. His scans and neurological tests were normal. His B12, however, was near the bottom of the reference range, a level that can disrupt sleep long before it causes obvious neurological symptoms. We switched him to methylcobalamin, the active form that bypasses poor conversion in older adults. Within 3 weeks, the nighttime restlessness eased. By week 6, he described waking with a clear head for the first time in years. This pattern is so consistent in older adults that I now check B12 levels long before considering sleep medication. Here's the physiology in simple terms. Methylcobalamin strengthens the myelin sheath, preventing nerve overactivation at night. It supports red blood cell formation, better oxygen delivery, deeper sleep cycles. It reduces the low-grade neurological stress that triggers micro-awakenings. And it calms nighttime sympathetic tone indirectly by stabilizing neural firing. Most adults over 60 do well with 1,000 micrograms methylcobalamin, sublingual, 3 to 5 times per week. For the aging nervous system, B12 isn't optional. It's a fundamental signal, one that tells the brain it is safe to rest, repair, and restore. Number 1, vitamin C. Among all the vitamins I evaluate in adults over 60, vitamin C is the one most consistently underestimated. People think of it as an immune vitamin, something you take when you feel a cold coming on. But in older adults, vitamin C plays a very different, much more foundational role, one that directly influences circulation, nighttime repair, and even sleep continuity. Here's what most seniors never hear. After 60, the tiny vessels in your legs, your brain, and your heart depend heavily on vitamin C to maintain elasticity and nitric oxide signaling. Collagen production slows with age, oxidative stress rises, and endothelial cells lose their ability to dilate on command. Vitamin C is the cofactor that supports all of those systems simultaneously. I worked with a woman named Evelyn, age 72, who complained of cold legs at night, light sleep, and waking with a heavy, stiff feeling across her lower legs. She assumed it was poor circulation or aging nerves, but her vascular imaging showed something different: reduced microvascular responsiveness. The tiny vessels simply weren't opening. Her diet was reasonable, but her vitamin C intake was barely enough for maintenance, not repair. We switched her to buffered vitamin C, a form gentler on the stomach and far better tolerated in adults over 60. Within 2 weeks, she noticed warmer legs at night. Within 6, her early morning fatigue had eased, and her sleep became less fragmented. Her follow-up tests showed a measurable improvement in endothelial responsiveness, something most people don't realize vitamin C can influence. Physiologically, the pathway is clear. Vitamin C strengthens collagen fibers in blood vessels. Better elasticity, supports nitric oxide regeneration, warmer extremities, reduces nighttime inflammation, fewer microarousals, aids serotonin to melatonin conversion, smoother sleep transitions. Most seniors do best with 250 to 500 milligrams per day, buffered or liposomal, taken with food, not megadoses, just enough to restore the pathways aging weakens first. Vitamin C isn't merely a wellness vitamin. For the older body, it is a vascular stabilizer, a nighttime repair signal, and one of the simplest, most overlooked tools for healthier aging. If there's a truth worth repeating, it's this: after 60, your body isn't breaking down. It's becoming more exact. The systems that once worked on momentum now work on precision, and precision rewards the right inputs more than ever. The 4 vitamins we discussed today aren't bad in the dramatic way supplements are sometimes portrayed. They simply no longer match the biology of an older adult. Clearance slows, enzymes shift, receptors change. What your body could process at 40 becomes noise at 70. And that noise shows up as inflammation, poor sleep, vascular strain, and mental fog. But when you remove the mismatched forms and give your body nutrients, it can actually activate. The difference is often unmistakable. Sleep becomes quieter. Mornings feel steadier. Your heart, your nerves, and your circulation work with less friction. These changes aren't sudden. They're cumulative, like tuning an instrument that's been slightly off key for years. Night by night, the body recalibrates. My advice is simple. Check your supplement shelf tonight. Look for the 4 forms we covered in the worst list and set them aside. Then give the best 2 weeks of consistency, not high doses, not complicated routines. Just physiology working with you instead of against you. If tonight's breakdown helped bring clarity, like the video, share it with someone in your life who's over 60, and subscribe so you can keep learning how to care for an aging body with accuracy, not guesswork. And before you go, tell me in the comments, which vitamin surprised you the most? Your answer might help someone else make the change they've been needing.